So Danny, why do moms put themselves last?
I don't know, but we're going to talk about it.
Hey mama, I'm Cindy
And I'm Danny.
and welcome to Color
Color
Me
me
Mom.
mom.
Hey mamas! Okay guys, so we are going to be talking about 5 reasons why moms put themselves last, right?
Yes,
And
we
I
are.
think it's important for us to be aware so that we can know how to change these things because we do not need to be in last position in our own lives.
Especially if we are the first ones that our children need.
Exactly. I have them listed right here. I will be reading them to you and then we're going to discuss them.
Sounds like a
All
plan.
right. The first one is cultural conditioning.
Cindy and I have two different experiences in this, but cultural conditioning is something that we can both agree is a reason why we have put ourselves last. For me, when I look at the women in my family, my mom, my grandmothers, my aunts, these are all women that were not born here. You know, they were born in Costa Rica, in Guatemala, in Cuba. Like they were not born here, they were not raised here. And so when I see the sacrifice that they made in order to come to this country, when they would talk to us about it, they wouldn't say, well, we came here because we just thought America would be wonderful. No, they would say, we came here to give our children, our grandchildren, to give you guys a better opportunity. So from very little, it is explained to us the reason why I wouldn't say suffering, but the reason why I am going through these struggles is because I am putting all my energy into you and I want to see it pay off in you. And, you know, my grandmother would also say, one of my grandmothers would say, you know, whenever my cousins or I or something would be upset or stressed over some silly thing, she would say, do you girls know what I would have done if I were born in this century, in this country, with the resources that you girls have? Oh, you don't even know how you're wasting it. And so it's definitely a cultural thing. You know, after I had my son, then it went from hearing the stories of my mom and my grandmothers and my aunts of how they put their children first to then kind of reinforcing it in me. Danny, now you have a son. You need to put him first. You need to put your children 1st. Cultural conditioning is a very real thing. You know, Cindy has her own experiences from herself and her whole family having been born here.
Right. So I think similar but different, right?
Yeah.
But being an African American woman born to a mother who was born in the deep south, well, not really deep south, but in the south, who mother died like really, really early. My mother just did not have that huge influence of a mother, right? I mean, I'm sure her grandmother loved her as best as she could, but they also came from a really large family, right? So she didn't get all of the nurturing that a mom would generally, give to her children. So she poured so much into me, right? I don't think she necessarily told me that, like you said. It was just understood. I was able to see the sacrifice and the things that she did in order so that I could have a better life. It definitely paid off for her, right? I did go on to do a lot of things that she didn't get to do and lead a type of life that she wanted. At the same time, now though, I really wish there would have been things that she would have done differently so that she wouldn't have had to work so hard. Like when I think about that, that pains me, right? And I think not that I don't have some of these reasons or that I don't put myself last, but I definitely think about myself. And I know we're going to talk about that a little bit more, but yeah, that is one of the reasons that moms often put themselves last is because of cultural conditioning. Even with being moms who of faith who believe in Christianity, a lot of times, even within our own religion, we want to be very submissive. We want to cook and clean and do everything, with the kids. And so living up to that Proverbs 31 woman, which another talk for another day, but she is not real. And so many women fail to become that. And I feel like it just causes so much
much strife within yourself.
I really feel that it contributes to women putting themselves last because you're trying to keep up with a standard
Mm-hmm.
that by many means is unrealistic
Yeah.
unless you are working with some other resources as well.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Right. Number two, we kind of talked about this. Moms often feel guilty.
Yes. So I'll talk about my guilt first, and I'll say, you know, the few times that I would or have done things for myself, whether it's to go get a haircut, to go get my nails done, or I mean, and it's not very often, but when I've tried to do little things for myself, while I'm doing that thing for myself, whether it's like I said, like getting a haircut. As I'm sitting down, I'm looking at the time. I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
all right, what time did I sit down in this chair? Okay. All right, my children need to be picked up from school by this time. Or, you know, like I cannot truly enjoy whatever thing I'm doing for myself because I'm anxious to be back with my children, and that's something that I have recognized within myself, and
Mm-hmm.
it's something that I know eventually I'll make peace with it or I'll do better with it, but I'm still trying to find ways to not feel guilty.
Oh, that is so good. And again, I feel like I'm on like at a different stage in that. Like their guilt is there, but honey, I would throw them kids under the bus in a minute. Baby, give me my mom staycation, my hotel room. But it's like, should I be at home with them? Forget them kids. Okay, so as you can see, together we are having a very balanced conversation with this, but it's a real thing too though, because
Hmm.
you're at a place where you're trying to do more for yourself, right? I'm at a place where I'm doing more for myself, but I'm still not completely at peace when I do it,
Hmm.
because it's like questioning, should I be doing it? And
Hmm.
we have to get to a point where we are at total peace with being able to really put ourselves first, to be able to enjoy ourselves without having to worry unrealistically about
Hmm.
our kids. Obviously, we want them to be safe, right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna be like, oh my God, I hope everything is okay. But to do it in such an excessive way that we're not achieving our goal
Hmm.
of recharging and taking care of ourselves while we are putting ourselves first. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Did that make sense?
It
Okay.
did to me. I speak Cindy.
I love my mom friend. All right, the next one is mental load. Women usually carry the invisible load of thinking about everyone's schedule, meals, emotions, and more. It leaves little room for themselves. You know, again, when Dan and I was talking about this, like this is so true, but I'm also at the point in life where it is very difficult for me to keep all of this in my head. I'm premenopausal and like life is crazy.
I can attest to the fact that I'll call Cindy and I'll say, "Hey, Cindy, you want to do some, you want to get together at like 6 p.m. or so," and she'll say, "Well, no, I can't today because today I have this event at my daughter's school." I say, "Okay, all right, well another time," and she'll say, "Can you call me back at 4:30 to remind me I need to leave work so I can go to this thing for my daughter's school?" And I will literally put an alarm on my phone, and it'll say like, "Call Cindy."
Like no, I'm telling you guys, it's a real thing. So like
So
this
my
is
mental load is greater because I have to remember Cindy.
as well as all of your load. Listen, like that is a thing. It is definitely a thing. And so I mean, listen, we're all under God's grace in my household if you're depending on me. I'm trying to get myself back to a point where, I can be of good to my husband and my children. Okay,
I hope
move.
I hope you guys are laughing along with us. What I could say from my mental load, I have a 14-year-old son, and when he was 5 years old, he was diagnosed with autism. So that was a different uh, that was a different journey for me because
Mm,
I thought motherhood was gonna go one way, and it went a whole other way. And you know I look at my son and I think like I just remember how devastated I was in that moment when I
Mm-hmm.
received that news because of, just because of a number of reasons. And so my mental load was so great.
Right, I
Like
can see
I
that.
yeah, like I remember I would think to myself, okay, all right, today's Monday. Okay, today he has occupational therapy from 3 to 5, which means I need to leave work at this time so I can go and pick him up from school. Then when I get him from school, we're going to drive an hour for him to go get occupational therapy. He has his 2-hour sessions. Sometimes it would go for 2.5, maybe 3. Thankfully we had a wonderful occupational therapist. We would finish at 5. Then I wouldn't get home until 6:30, 7 o'clock because of how bad traffic was.
Wow.
Then on the way home, I would have to think, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to, pick up something on the way home? Or let's see, let me think what it is that I'm going to cook for today. Let me see what I can do because, once again, with my son having autism, there were certain food aversions because of textures.
Right.
And yeah, so and that was just for like occupational therapy, and that
Right.
was 3 times a week. Then he would have speech therapy, and he
Right.
would also have behavioral therapy. And so
So
that
it
was,
was it was such a it was a lot, right? And after
yeah,
all of that, you don't have any more load left. Your brain can't process as
yeah.
much. So yeah, so as much as you had to experience that, right? Because some sacrifices we can make, but that was not one of them. And so after doing all of that, my goodness, there is not a lot of time for you. And I think that's the same way I feel now. Like my mental load is like this much. After it is used up, it's gone. But again, I think that is the importance of having like balance and boundaries and community that can really help us to maneuver such a hectic schedule, right?
Yeah.
And so that leads me to of lack of support and a lack of setting boundaries. Many moms are stretched thin because they don't have enough help or haven't been taught to set boundaries with their kids, partners, or even themselves.
I have a really funny anecdote about that, which you probably don't even know. Jason, Cindy's husband, he actually gave me a book after I told him, like, he was like, "Hey, Danny, how's it going? How's your week?" And I said, "Well, I had this on Monday, I had this on Tuesday," and I'm like just going through everything. He looked at me and he goes, "I'm tired just listening to what your week was like." And so the following week, he gave me a book titled
Mm.
Boundaries. He
Wow, isn't
did,
that
yeah.
something? I didn't get that book. No lie. When the kids say no cap, I'm almost jealous. No, but what I will say is that thank you guys so much. This has taken so long that we're probably going to do a part 2. Please add to the conversation by commenting below.